You're listening to WSPD 77.1, Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We are your home for motorsports.
Pedal down on the floor, push it to the top, can't take no more. Big hair, sends the flag game down. Be here to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways. Hair, sends the flag game down. Be here to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways.
Good evening, race fans, and once again, we're back on the air for another edition of Motorsports Madness here on Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. And just as we do, it seems every episode, we have got so much to talk about tonight, from NASCAR to legend cars, and even some super modified action from up north. It all happens right now on Motorsports Madness here tonight on Speed 77 Radio. We're glad you're along for the ride. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. I'm Jacob Seelman, alongside tonight my co-host, Tom Baker. DJ Everett is off tonight, but we'll keep the corner warm for him. And Tom, as we get set for what's going to be our final Thursday night edition of Motorsports Madness for a little bit here, still got a lot to talk about and a lot that's come across the news wire even just earlier today.
Yes, we certainly do have a lot to talk about. And you know what, Jacob? Just when you think that maybe just for one show, just for 1 hour, we can set NASCAR aside, or at least talk about only the race that's coming up, which should be a great one in New Hampshire. All kinds of stuff for that we can talk about. Just when you thought maybe the controversy was gone for at least a day or two, not.
Not at all. The news wire was lighting up all morning long. I know you and I have been discussing it all day, and we really kind of had a feeling that this announcement was coming. Straight out of the NASCAR garage, it was announced earlier today that Napa Auto Parts will terminate their relationship with Michael Waltrip Racing effective the end of the 2013 season, leaving the number 56 car driven by Martin Truex Jr. sponsorless. This decision coming down in the wake of the events of the Richmond International Raceway finale for the regular season. And Tom, we've talked about it, we've discussed that it might happen, but now that it's finally happened, do we really see just how big of a blow this is going to be to Michael Waltrip Racing? That whole organization has to be reeling from this announcement.
Yeah, I would say, it's unfortunate. There's obviously two sides to every story, and I know a lot of people feel like they were just trying to, use strategy to help a teammate. I know that a lot of people feel like this is really unjust and that it's unfair of Napa, but here's the bottom line, folks. This is a business. And what you have to think about is that, what type of conduct is acceptable in a business climate, what type of conduct is acceptable in other sports, and there's unsportsmanlike conduct in almost every sport, and this was a case of clearly unsportsmanlike conduct. They were altering, manipulating the outcome of a race, which is, there may not be a hard and fast, or may not have been a hard and fast rule against it, but there is now, and Napa felt like they went a little too far. Napa didn't want to be a part of anything like that, and this is what happens. And so now a 12-year relationship or 13-year relationship that Napa's had with Michael Waltrip, and more recently, of course, with Michael Waltrip Racing, is no more at the end of the season. And I hope that for all the employees at Michael Waltrip Racing, for their sake, and for the sake of that whole team, and for Martin Truex as well, I hope that they're going to be able to find another sponsor, but they've got about 4 months from now to do that before we get to Daytona in February. It's not a long off season in NASCAR, as you know, Jacob. So they're definitely going to be under the gun to try and come up with another sponsor to replace Napa.
They certainly are, and I know there's already been talk as to who might be out there that could replace Napa. Obviously, we're not sure. We know Peak right now, a staunch supporter of Michael Waltrip Racing, Peak standing behind them. So a couple people have speculated that maybe Peak going to come to the table for the 56, but that's going to be a story that's going to play out, I think, all the way through to the end of the season and even into the off season before we have all the answers as far as that's concerned. But like you said, we don't want to talk about the bad. We do want to be able to look ahead a little bit as well to this weekend at Loudon, New Hampshire, race number 2 of the Chase. We saw Matt Kenseth win last week in Chicagoland, a very soggy Chicagoland. But going ahead, this is now a very flat 1-mile racetrack this weekend where we've seen a lot of drivers perform over the years. What are you keeping your eye on this weekend as we tackle the mile bull ring in New England?
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm keeping my eye on a Budweiser car. I think Kevin Harvick is going to be a driver that you're really going to have to contend with this weekend at Loudon. I think Kevin sort of smelled blood in the water last week at Chicagoland, and certainly I think here is a track where Kevin does well. I think Kevin's going to be a real contender, and I'll give you another name, and it's Busch. Both Kurt and Kyle, I think, are going to be very tough to beat this weekend. I would think this would be one of the best of the remaining Chase races. Loudon is traditionally a track where you either have a great race or you have a terrible race. I think this may be a great race just because, again, the competitive cars, the Hendrick cars could be strong here. You got, this is a track where almost every super team, every manufacturer has had some success fairly recently, so I think this is kind of wide open. But watch the 48 too. That's one of these first few races, they're just going to bust out and kick everybody's butt, and this may be it. But I like Harvick and I like the Busch brothers. We'll see how that plays out.
Of course, you would mention that everybody that I'm looking at here, but I'm looking at actually one of the 3 drivers you mentioned specifically, and that's Kurt Busch. He's got 3 wins at Loudon, New Hampshire. That team, Furniture Row, has been so close all season long, and I've just been waiting for Kurt Busch to have that race. And I think this weekend at Loudon, New Hampshire is that race. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm picking Kurt Busch to be in victory lane at the end of the Sylvania 300. I think that team at Furniture Row is very, very due to finally celebrate with the champagne.
Yeah, you may be right, and I think that team at this track could be very, very scary to watch and really have a breakout race. But I'll pick Kevin Harvick, and I'll also say this. I know I didn't talk about Matt Kenseth. We need to give Matt his due. I mean, that's a team right there that really, if you want to just look at the whole season as one big lump sum, that team has been the best team over the entire season. And what a resurgence Matt has had since he went over into Joe Gibbs Racing from Roush. And I don't think it's anything to do with Jack Roush. It's just one of those situations where he clicked right away over there. And, boy, he's had one of the best seasons of his career.
Statistically, it is the best season of his career, and I would never count out Matt Kenseth. He's won 6 times this season. That means he's a threat every week. Those storylines going to play out on Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be keeping our eyes on it as the Sprint Cup Series travels to New Hampshire, being joined by the K&N East Series and the Whelen Modified Tour. Those races going to take place on Saturday. Going to be exciting. The Modified race is going to be live on Fox Sports 1. So if you want to see some great racing this weekend from Loudon, New Hampshire, I think we're going to have it. But for right now,
I'll tell you what, that Modified race could end up being the best race of the weekend. Keep your eye on Ryan Preece in that one.
Absolutely. Ryan Preece going for, I believe, 4 wins in a row on the Whelen Modified Tour. So, for right now, we're going to take our first break, grab a pit stop, and when we come back, we're going to talk the Legends Asphalt Nationals. We've got some of the winners and some of the big gainers in-house with us. We've got Ryan McIntosh on the line after this break. You're listening to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We are your home for motorsports.
If I had a nickel.
If I had a nickel?
If I had a nickel for every time I wish my car had a horn. If I had a nickel for every time.
For every lucky charm I have brought to the racetrack.
If I had a nickel for every wardrobe change I had to make. Man, if I had a nickel.
If I had a nickel for every time I
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
If you had a Sunoco Rewards credit card, you'd get a nickel for every gallon you pump. Go Sunoco.
Hi, this is Jamie McMurray here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a
A
star.
public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this?
Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
The odds of a young girl being discovered by an industry insider while singing to herself pumping gas? 1 in 300 million. The odds of the daughter of a clergyman from Severn, Maryland spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts? 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of selling over 40 million records? 1 in 800,000. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WSPD 77.1. This is Speed 77 Radio, your home for motorsports. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We're going to talk Legends Nationals here, and the semi-pro division certainly has been the story of one driver all season long. It's been a wild one, but he seems to have come out in the top 2 or 3 almost every week. He worked his tail off at Lake Erie Speedway, worked his way through the field, ended up in victory lane, and has now pretty much cemented his championship, the national championship for the semi-pro division here in 2013. And we've got him on the Speed 77 radio line to talk about his Nationals win here in 2013, Ryan McIntosh. Ryan, we call you the Flying Canadian for a reason, and you went out to Lake Erie and proved it at Nationals, coming away with the victory, and that pretty much cements your role as the champion for the division in 2013. Talk about your run at Nationals, because you certainly had to work for it. It did not come easy for you.
Yeah, you got that right. It didn't come easy. It was a lot of hard work, and there was a great field, and a couple of guys that we've been racing hard with all year long here in North Carolina went down there, and we didn't lead the whole race. We qualified third and finished second in our heat race, and we never gave up, kept making changes, and the whole team worked really hard, and it was awesome that it paid off in the end.
Certainly one of the highlights of your season, Ryan, and I've got to ask you here, anything to top this? I mean, you've won Nationals. You're well on your way to locking up the championship here in the final weeks of the season, but is there one specific highlight of your season that stands out to you?
Oh, well, that would for sure be it. I mean, to be, especially from being from Canada and starting out racing go-karts, I would have never expected to end up in the United States and get to win one of their national events. And that for me is probably the greatest thing it's been.
And certainly a big mark on your resume going forward. But now we're getting to the end of 2013. Time to start thinking about next year in 2014 as well. Do you have any firm plans yet for next year in 2014? More of the Legends car, or what's coming up for you?
Well, there's a lot of plans going on, but there's nothing set in stone. And I know in the Legend car, we're for sure going to run the winter heat in the pro division and run the summer shootout. But as far as everything else, it's all up in the air, and we're trying to get some plans together here because the season will be over for the Legend car on October 6th, and everything's coming from there. So we're just getting it all together now, and we'll see from here.
Certainly a driver of your caliber. I can't imagine that the phone won't be ringing for too long. I've got to imagine that somebody's got their eyes on you just as we have all season, because you've proven a lot to a lot of people. Certainly congratulations on all your accomplishments this season. But I know you can't do it alone, and you've had a ton of people supporting this effort for you all year, and now's your chance to thank them. It's the proverbial shout-out question.
I'm grateful for that. It's been a huge team thing, and I've been lucky to get involved with Chris Woods Racing Repairs and Daniel Hemrick. Dennis Lambert, he's helped us out a lot and cuts us great tires. We've had Jeff Jordan at RPM, and he keeps a great chassis under the car. And Diva Motorsports built some great gears for us. And it's just, there's so many people. And my sponsors, Northeast Legends, Endpoint Racing, and Joe Graff himself, for a guy I only met 4 or 5 years ago, and how much he stood behind me and backed me up, it's amazing that we've had all these people. My mom and dad, they gave me the greatest opportunity in the world, allowing me to live down here. And it's just my entire family's making sacrifices for me to be here and chase my dreams. So it's a pretty amazing deal.
I'd say, Ryan, that the dreams have fast been achieved. Congratulations on your win at Legends Nationals. Congratulations here for the rest of the season, because at this point, I think you've just about put the championship out of everybody else's reach. Just a couple weeks left at Concord, if I'm not mistaken. And best of luck towards all your plans coming together for 2014. We've been glad for your time, as always, and look forward to seeing you back on the track here shortly.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
We're going to take a break here on Motorsports Madness, and when we come back, more news and notes from the Legends Nationals. We're going to have Young Lions winner, surprise winner, Trip Gerald on the line with us. That's coming up next on Motorsports Madness. You're listening to Speed77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We are your home for motorsports.
I knew some people would question it. I knew some people wouldn't approve. It's not just a number. It's a symbol for a great man who did great things. I don't want to erase that. I want to add to it, and I want to make my own name. I knew it wouldn't be easy, and that's why I wanted it.
Austin Dillon with a checkered flag.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning, so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this? Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
For every turn, a twist. For every start, an untimely finish. For every win, someone who loses it. For every number, a nation. For every celebration, a brawl. For every split second, years of work. For every heaven, a hell. For every good old boy, a good old girl. For every curse, a prayer. For every ounce of order, a jug of chaos. For every twist, there's a turn.
You're listening to Speed77 Radio, your home for motorsports.
This year, winning means more, and Kyle Busch would do anything to win. He'd steal a lead on a restart. He'd save an out-of-control race car. He'd get a neck tattoo of himself winning so he'll feel guilty if he loses. He'd even call another driver's house 30 times in a row the night before a race.
Who is this? Who's this?
If it would help him win, he'd do it. Because Kyle Busch would do anything to win.
For Nationwide drivers, every race matters. They have everything to win and everything to lose. With every win, they're closer to winning the Nationwide title. With every loss, they're closer to losing it all. They're not just racing for points, they're racing for a future. And only a checkered flag separates obscurity from greatness. This is the Nationwide Series.
Maybe you know who we are.
But do you know who we really are?
We're ladies.
And not so gentlemen.
We're a mad scientist.
We're outlaws turned heroes.
We're part athlete.
Part astronaut.
And all show off. We're a flash mob. We're bigger than most towns. We're everything.
You never expect.
He slammed into the jet drop.
We're always testing the limits and each other.
We're the unknown coming at you at 200 miles per hour.
We're fire. We're smoke.
Nerves colliding with steel.
We're the loudest party on earth.
We live at the corner of Mayhem and Maine.
Oh no! They crossed the line, and guess who wins the race?
Where anything can happen. It usually does.
You're listening to WSPD 77.1. This is Speed 77 Radio, your home for motorsports. Welcome back to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We've talked NASCAR, and now we're in full swing with the 2013 Legends Asphalt Nationals. And if ever there was a underdog winner that was able to get it done at the Asphalt Nationals in 2013, it was the driver that won in the Young Lions division over his teammate, no less, on the Speed 77 line now with Trip Gerald. And Trip, first off, congratulations on the big win. Talk a little bit about how you held off your teammate William Byron for that victory, because I know you had to work for it.
Yeah, we did. The whole weekend, we were neck and neck. We were both constantly right there next to each other, and it really could have been either one of us, but the things just fell in my favor, and I got lucky.
I would say there was a little bit of skill that had to do with it too, but you end up in victory lane at Nationals, certainly a place I know coming into the weekend. You said to me on the phone line a few minutes ago you were expecting it, but at the same time you weren't. Does this rank among the highest accomplishments of your career so far?
Definitely. This is pretty big.
And Tom, I want to throw it to you because I know you watched Trip race during the summer shootout as well, and he was solid all through the shootout, but I don't know that we were quite expecting the breakout performance like we saw out of him at Lake Erie.
Well, you know, one of the things that you and I talked about, Jacob, after we got the results, was this is really what the national championship race to me should be all about. And you know, here's a young driver who obviously has the ability to wheel a race car around a racetrack in a hurry, but just really would not have likely been, you know, in the top 2 or 3 choices by most people to win the event, just because, you know, you had guys like William Byron who, you know, simply have dominated that division all season long. But I just think, Trip, that it's fantastic that you got on that big stage up there at Lake Erie, and it isn't as though you got lucky. It isn't as though William dropped out or had issues. I mean, he had to come to the back, yes, but you just drove an amazing race to stay out front. I know that it was getting close at the end, but you did a great job, and it says a lot when someone like yourself steps up on a big stage like that and pulls off the surprise. I always love to see that.
Thanks. The whole week, we really wanted it. We wanted it more than any other race. And we've just been working as hard as we could to do well. And it was so much fun. I told my dad before I went out, I didn't really care how I did because I had already had so much fun. And it was just the experience of a lifetime.
Well, that says a lot. And you really did drive a great race. Talk a little bit about your background, just real briefly, in quarter midgets, and talk about the changeover from the quarter midgets. Did you go straight to Legends?
Yes, we raced dirt for a few years and then transitioned to asphalt. And we weren't as heavy into it as we are now in Legends. We just raced the local track, but once we got into Legends, it all changed, and I decided I really wanted to put focus on it, and here I am now.
Well, now, how old are you, Trip?
14.
14, so you're still young. So I'm assuming that probably next year you're planning on running Legends again?
Well, next year I'll be in a Super Dirt late model, but we're also going to try and race Legends.
Very nice. Well, that'll be two entirely different brains that you're going to have to put in and out because they require two completely different driving styles.
Yeah, I have a lot to learn, but I'm up for it.
It's awesome. Jacob, I'll tell you what, somebody like Tripp, you have a driver on the show like this after a big win, and, it's just so cool to be able to talk with someone who went and did something that a lot of people weren't expecting him to do. But I think the biggest thing is that it kind of stayed all in the family because, of course, him and William are teammates.
That they are, and I know, they say it's no sweeter than to beat your teammate because your teammates are the ones that are going to race you the hardest for that win, and I can guarantee you that was true. And when we hear from William here in a couple minutes, I'm sure he would say the exact same thing. But to celebrate the win, Tripp, thank you for your time here tonight. We appreciate it. Congratulations on undoubtedly one of the biggest wins for your career to date. But before we let you go, I know you can't do it alone, so who makes it happen for Tripp Gerald?
The whole crew, Dennis Lambert, Mark Narstedt, my dad, my mom, Valvoline, all my family, just everybody who's worked so hard to get me to this point.
Well said right there from a Nationals champion. Tripp Gerald, the Young Lions champion for 2013, winner of the national championship race. And when we come back, we'll hear from the driver who has just about locked up the national points championship, and that's William Byron, also out of the Young Lions division. That interview plus more when we return for the second half of Motorsports Madness. You're listening to Speed77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. We are your home for motorsports.
Packers,
Vikings,
Red State,
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown,
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
half empty,
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live united. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Why me? Why me? I won Daytona last year.
I won Nationwide.
I did beat Jimmy Johnson.
I won Vegas.
I won Richmond.
I'm good with people. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm loyal. I like animals.
I'm better looking.
Come on. I'm a Libra. There was a cat in a tree and I got him out. So?
So what do you think?
Am I on your team?
Choose wisely. The all-new 2013 NASCAR Fantasy Live. Play today at NASCAR.com.
I'm feeling a connection here.
Running a team and my racing keeps me pretty busy. I need insurance that's on my side. That's why the Earnhardt family's had nationwide insurance for more than 30 years. I get the coverage that I need at the right price for me. That's what you can get when you call 1-866-500-5555. I trust them. You can too. That's on your side. Get a quote today.
Hi everybody, this is Geddy Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Every Saturday, you wake up and wonder, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the day? The day it all clicks. The day you break through. The day you stand out above the rest. The day everyone remembers who you are. The day you stop wondering if you belong here. Is this going to be the day?
Hi, this is Jamie McMurray here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WSPD 77.1. This is Speed 77 Radio, your home for motorsports. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. You've heard from a couple of the drivers who took home the big trophies at the Asphalt Nationals for U.S. Legends in 2013. But now on the line, we've got one of the runner-up finishers who arguably is going to collect the biggest trophy of them all here in about 2 or 3 weeks when the season wraps up. And that's the second-place finisher from the Young Lions division, William Byron. William, you said to me the other day we didn't go up necessarily to win, although we were gunning for it, but we beat the people we needed to beat in the end. And that was pretty much all you needed to do. You finished second and now have almost a lock on the national championship for the Young Lions division. Congratulations on that, and talk about your run, because it was not easy for you having to come from 21st, dead last on the field, and finish second. An incredible drive for you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me on. Yeah, it was a crazy week. We kind of went in with the intentions of trying to get the win if it presented itself, and when we first got there on Wednesday, I'll just take you through a general summary. Well, we were basically the fastest car on Wednesday. We're the fastest car in the second practice on Tuesday. And then we had a mishap in qualifying, and that is what it is. But we really had a positive mindset going into Friday and Saturday. And going into Saturday, starting 21st, we were just going to see what we could do. And we just recapped everything, and we had such a positive mindset going into the race that, it was great to come from 21st to second in about 25 laps, and then we just kind of rode there. But I don't know if I had anything for Tripp. He was really fast.
That was going to be my next question, was once you got to second, it was your teammate out in front of you. You didn't have to beat him for points, but I know in every racer's mind it goes through that I still want to win the race. How tough was it for you racing your teammate for the win at the Legends Nationals? I know you two put on a great battle there before the end.
Yeah, I think we really built a great relationship all week. We've had a great relationship all year. But, I was able to win the Race of Champions, the race before that, which was for all the state winners and the top 20 in points. So going into the championship race, I was like, okay, just get to where I need to be to get to the guys I need to beat. And then with Tripp being as fast as he was, it was pretty easy to just get out in second and ride behind him because we could pull away from the field. And once I got to second, it was pretty easy to do that because we were just able to pull away from everyone else.
Tom, I'm going to invite you in here at the round table. You and I have talked about the star power that William has all season long. As a rookie, he's really come in, no experience save for iRacing, and just mopped the floor with some of the best drivers in the country. And I know you said to me more than once that he is going to go places before the end of this season and even going into next season.
Well, particularly the opportunity I think would be there going into next season, and I really feel like he's ready for a next step. Just an amazing thing to watch this year. Somebody with no seat time in an actual race car coming into the hardest car he can possibly drive, and just having a great year. I mean, it shows tremendous learning ability, and it also shows that iRacing actually does what it says it does. If you pay attention and you use it as a learning tool and a training tool, you can actually get a feel for driving a race car, not a seat of the pants feel so much, but just an understanding of, well, if I change this or change that, how does that affect the way the car handles? And I'm assuming, William, that's where you got a lot of your base information that you carried into the Legends car when you got in it.
Yeah, that was exactly true. I still use iRacing today, and it still helps me, but, I think my skills in racing people side by side, getting through the field, have really kind of evolved over the last 3 months. And that's when I kind of had the confidence to pursue the next level, because I feel like not only can I run by myself, but coming from 21st to 2nd in a national championship race gives me the confidence that I'm ready for the next step, and I'm ready to pursue whatever that may be.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, that was my first thought. Is, again, I said it to Tripp when we had him on the program a few minutes ago. That's a big stage up there. I mean, that's when you get to a national championship race, I'm sure you felt it. It has a completely different feel to it. The pressure's a little higher. The atmosphere is a little more electric. I mean, it's. I think that national championship race in some ways is even bigger than any one particular shootout race. I think the shootout is obviously a pressure cooker for 10 races, but I think the national championship, it's just one race to get it done, and especially if the championship is truly on the line, you really need to be able to relax under pressure, and you and Tripp both certainly showed the ability to do that.
Right. I think most importantly, my team was able to calm me down. And I think once the event happened on Thursday, where we kind of had an unfortunate situation, I think we regrouped. We realized that, honestly, we had nothing to lose going into Saturday. We'd worked so hard all year, and that had really paid off because we made our mark, and we had won all these races, and we'd show people that we were always there as the fastest car to whatever track we went to. So we had proved that, but we wanted to, for our own self-accomplishment, to win this championship, to win it for Dennis, for my family, for me, and all my personal goals. It was pretty rewarding to take the advantage in the championship, and now we just have to get 2 more wins out of the next 7 races that we have.
2 wins and it'll be all locked up. I know you're going to be back at Concord here before everything's all said and done. William, before we let you off the line tonight, you've already mentioned some of the people that make it happen for you. You can't do it alone. The proverbial shout-outs. Who makes it happen for William Byron?
Well, I think, after to recap everything, I have to definitely thank my parents because it's taken a lot of toll on them and my crew, Dennis Lambert, just everyone that takes me around the country to find these wins and to race against the best competition I can. You know, it's a big investment both mentally and emotionally and through physical, you know, parts. But Dennis Lambert's made it happen all year. He's the best crew chief out there, and my parents for just supporting me throughout the whole way.
And he's 2 wins away from a national championship points title. William Byron, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us on the show. And best of luck the next couple weeks. You've almost got it locked up, but I know you can't rest on your laurels, and I know you, in that driver mindset, won't. Best of luck here at Concord for the rest of the season.
Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on.
We're going to take our final commercial break, last caution flag of the night here on Motorsports Madness, and when we come back, we'll wrap up the show. You're listening to Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser. Online, we are your home for motorsports.
Hi everybody, this is Faith Hill for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. As a performer, I've had many wonderful moments to celebrate. So please, when you celebrate, designate. Please choose a designated driver. Music lives, and you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This year, winning means more, and Kevin Harvick would do anything to win. He'd cut drivers off on pit road. He'd bump draft for a shot at the lead. He'd pull the old possum in a bag routine on another driver. He'd even trade paint with his wife for trying to beat him into the driveway. If it would help him win, he'd do it, because Kevin Harvick would do anything to win.
I've already made a name for myself, doing things people thought were impossible. I have 12 world records. Fans all over the world. I even had my own TV show. But here, my name doesn't mean anything. Not yet.
If I had a nickel. If I had a nickel? If I had a nickel for every time I wish my car had a horn. If I had a nickel for every time.
For every lucky charm I have brought to the racetrack.
If I had a nickel for every wardrobe change I had to make.
Man, if I had a nickel.
If I had a nickel for every time I coulda, woulda, shoulda.
If you had a Sunoco Rewards credit card, you'd get a nickel for every gallon you pump. Go Sunoco.
My name is Joe Thompson. I'm 29 years old and I have a career that I love as a systems analyst. Career. It still sounds cool to say that word. I never could have gotten on this path without a college degree. And if the college me were here, he'd tell you.
I never would have gotten to college without Big Brothers Big Sisters. I could have ended up anywhere, on the streets even. But college? Joe Thompson? Not likely. My big brother helped me out. He taught me I could do anything, at a time when a lot of people were saying just the opposite.
And to a 7-year-old, that means a lot. My big brother's name is Phil. And Phil is the reason that this 7-year-old grows up to be a systems analyst.
Whether you donate money or time, you're helping Big Brothers Big Sisters help a child. And that can last a lifetime. Start something today at bigbrothersbigsisters.org. Brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
Hey, buddy.
Who are you guys?
Matt Anderson, Phil Rose.
Coke brand.
Are
you with the Coke or Coke Zero?
Coke brand.
People don't understand that Coke Zero infringed on our taste. We can't have Coke Zero in the winner's circle, being hoisted for that traditional drink.
These Coke Zero guys are taste infringers. They're soda pirates.
Would you be willing to throw a race?
I don't think so. No, it's all about winning in our sport.
Maybe it's trying to win third. Yeah, maybe it's trying to win fifth.
Teach the kids of America it's okay to be 27th. You try.
What you're coming up with is
preposterous.
Let's back off the word throw. What if you enjoyed the track for longer than the other competitor?
Yeah.
Let's look at it as track enjoyment.
Let's put it positive.
You're a legend.
You don't have to prove anything.
You don't have to prove anything. Maybe now's the time to stop and smell the roses, but on the track. Then nobody will really associate Coke Zero with Victory Lane.
Probably get us suspended.
Well, Tony, come on. You're pretty comfortable with that.
You're listening to WSPD 77.1. This is Speed 77 Radio, your home for motorsports. Welcome back to Motorsports Madness here on Speed 77 Radio, powered by Race Chaser Online. Jacob Seelman alongside Tom Baker. Of course, DJ Everett off tonight, and we look forward to Tuesday night when DJ can rejoin us here at the round table. I tell you what, it's just not the same without him. He just brings that level of excitement to the table. But Tom, you and I know have had a lot of fun here tonight, reduxing some of the NASCAR and short track news. Can't forget about Daniel Hemrick. Daniel Hemrick won the Pro Division at the Legends Nationals and continues to impress. I believe 12 wins out of 14 Legends starts this season. He's been impressive in the late model, driving the Southern Super Series this year as well for Carswell Motorsports. But Daniel Hemrick, why somebody hasn't picked him up on a national stage yet, I do not know. The kid is going places and going places in a hurry.
Well, again, it's just it's a business, so it's dollars, and I would like to believe, and I asked Daniel, I interviewed him on the Stock Car Steel show earlier, and had a chance to ask him off the air what his plans were, and or if he's got anything in the wind. He's got several things in the wind. He didn't tell me what. But those things, the question I asked was, are some or all of those things higher level than where you're at now? And he said yes. So we can only hope that he gets an opportunity, whether it's K&N or ARCA or the Truck Series, because I do think he's extremely talented, very well-spoken, extremely marketable, and ought to be somewhere in the big-time ranks here in 2014.
That he will be, and we're looking forward to seeing exactly what those mysterious plans are for Daniel Hemrick, but just has been so impressive all season long.
Well, he said nothing's solid yet, so let's hope something becomes solid. But apparently there are some at least attempts that they're trying to make into doing some bigger things. So let's hope that some plans come together. I know that there's probably a bunch of Pro Legends drivers who would just as soon he go somewhere and never come back.
Oh, trust me, I've heard that said for more than a few Pro Legends drivers. As far as the Masters segment of the Asphalt Nationals, Ira Loy taking victory lane in the Masters portion of the Asphalt Nationals. So congratulations to all the winners, and I know I've definitely appreciated getting to talk to Trip Gerald tonight, because for what we'd call an underdog to be able to put all the pieces together and go to victory lane on one of the biggest stages in short track racing is just special, and I know it meant a lot to Dennis Lambert and that whole team, so congratulations again to them. But Tom, before we sign it off for tonight, actually a little bit more coming down the news wire this week as we get set for the weekend in motorsports. The NASCAR Nationwide Series was in the news because their title sponsor, Nationwide, actually not returning to the series after their contract expires next year, so NASCAR going to start the process of sponsor negotiations. But I'm not going to speculate, but I almost find it interesting, and I'll let you chime in on this because you've been very vehemently outspoken about this all afternoon. There are some people out there that find it odd and interesting that announcement comes down from Nationwide, and the next day Napa announces they're pulling out of MWR.
I would not expect to see the NASCAR Napa Series in 2014. I know somebody's going to try to make that connection, and who knows, it could happen. I've seen stranger things. I still think that's where Napa's going, and in fact, I'm going to go on record and just state that I think that Napa already has an idea of what the next step is going to be. 9 times out of 10, you don't see an organization make a move like that without knowing at least a couple of the final options of where they're going. It just doesn't happen that way in the corporate world. The corporate world moves too slow for that, and it's very methodical. So I would expect to see Napa on somebody's race car, and I would expect that announcement to come fairly soon. I would not be at all surprised if it came as quickly as by the time we're back on the air with the next Madness show on Tuesday night. That would not surprise me at all. And I'm going to throw a wild card into this just because it's fun. How about Napa and Austin Dillon together at Richard Childress Racing? I don't have any insider information on that. It's just something that would be curiously interesting to see happen. Who knows? But I have a feeling they know where they're going.
I wouldn't deny that. In good business, I know you and I have both said that a big corporation plans their moves like a game of chess, about 2 moves ahead of where they're actually showing.
Exactly.
So it'll be
that's exactly right.
It will be interesting, as you said, to see where Napa falls here in the coming days or weeks, and I wouldn't be surprised either to see us have that news by our next edition of Motorsports Madness on Tuesday night. Well, we've got a couple minutes before we wrap up the show tonight, Tom. I know over the weekend as well, some Northern Super Modified action and points battles were being decided at the Oswego Speedway, the track championship night going on up there. Talk a little bit about, real quick, some of this Super Modified news before we sign off for tonight.
Well, how about a 6-time track champion now? Otto Sitterly getting it done for the 6th time, and he's done it for the 6th time in the last decade. So pretty much the 2000s, especially the last half of the 2000s to date, have been all about Big Blue, Otto Sitterly, and the Decotra Racing team. Otto getting the feature win, beating out the driver who was chasing him for the championship, Joe Gozick. Joe would have been looking for his 3rd title, but Double O Joe instead ends up 2nd in the feature. Pat Lavery 3rd, Michael Barnes, the Hustler, 4th, and Classic winner Bobby Bond got 5th. Incidentally, Dave Schillick Jr. in the 3rd Decotra Racing car, number 2, started at the back of the field and drove all the way up to 7th in that 75-lap super modified race. So again, Otto Sitterly getting the championship at Oswego. And if you're wondering, has anybody ever won more than that at the track? Yes, Jimmy Champagne has 7 track championships at the Oswego Speedway, and Nolan Swift has 8 track championships at the Oswego Speedway. So he's got a couple more to go, but I think Otto's got a good chance to break all of that record over the next 3 or 4 years. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get to 10 before he hangs it up.
Neither would any of the rest of us super modified junkies out there, Tom. I know Otto is one of the best of this generation when it comes to super modified racing. Congratulations to him. And I tell you what, that brings us to the end of the road, at least temporarily, for Thursday night editions of Motorsports Madness. We're not going off the air. We're not going anywhere. We'll be back again every week on Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so same time, just scaling it back. But what's going to take our place here on Speed77 Radio on Thursday nights is the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in for late model and modified pavement racing action. Tom Baker, my co-host tonight, is the host for the Stock Car Steel show that actually aired tonight just before our edition of Motorsports Madness. Had a lot of fun helping you out with that, Tom, and I look forward to more pavement, late model, and modified news coming forward on our Thursday night slots here on Speed77 Radio.
Should be a lot of fun. Just want to do a little house cleaning here. Bentley Warren also 7 track championships at the Oswego Speedway along with the Pines. So those two are tied with 7 wins, and that's who's seriously shooting after next year in 2014. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun on Thursday nights. The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report, pavement, late models, and modifieds, and all kinds of driver guests and interviews. Basically, we're going to be fast and loose just like we are here on the Motorsports Madness show. have the chat box open. We invite all of you to tune in every Thursday, and of course on Tuesdays we will have Motorsports Madness and talk all kinds of racing from top to bottom and who knows what else. So yeah, we'll be having some fun on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just changing the lineup and the programming around just a little bit, and more exclusive live content going to be added shortly to Speed77 and Race Chaser Online, so y'all stay tuned for that. This is the only place you're going to find this content anywhere on the internet.
Until then, for my co-host, Tom Baker, for DJ Everett, who's not with us tonight, DJ, we wish you well back there in Boise, Idaho, and we look forward to seeing you again on Tuesday. For the entire Speed77 Radio and Race Chaser Online staff, including Joel Sebastianelli and Kyle Souza, Stephen Ovens, I'm Jacob Seelman, inviting all you race fans to keep it up on the cushion, but keep it off the wall until we meet again. And we'll see you at the racetrack, folks. Until next time, so long.